All right, we are live. Tap and Birdie. Could not be more excited to be joined by David Barnett of Tour Junkies. It's been a long time coming. You've been kind of my white whale for a while, and you finally made it for a great event.
Listen, dude, if you're as persistent in my DMs as you are in some of these little thoughts on run around on golf Twitter, girl, then you should not have time to do podcasts, brother. You should not
No,
have time. You should be too busy doing other things.
yeah, no, you are right. And, you always kind of come at me on Twitter anytime I do anything. And you're just like, dude, you're 25. Like, you got the world by the balls. Like, you should be out, like, slanging babes, like, doing all this stuff. I'm like, dude, I am. Like, I'm trying. Like, I'm on Hinge. Like, I'm going out to bars. Like, you don't see that.
Okay.
That's kind of behind the scenes a little
Well,
bit.
maybe we need to live stream some of that. Maybe that would up your your content game a little bit. We got in some early trouble when we started doing this, when we used to live stream Pat, hammered out at certain events. And, it was real racy, but a lot of people loved it. Maybe you should start doing that, live stream us, watching you spit some game in a bar or something,
No, I think that's great. I think that like people want to know more about my life. Like people are very much so like always post my golf rounds, like what I'm doing. People are like, what is Brian doing on a Saturday night out at the bar? Does he actually have game? Like, I think my extent of showing I have game, obviously having Paige on my pod, made her blush a few times. She's into me, sexiest woman alive. Like, I don't know how many people have had Paige on their pod, but I know I did. And I know she's half into me at least. So, I think so. I do think she's half into me a little bit.
We've never had her on the Tour Junkies pod. So, and I've not seen her really make the rounds in the DFS dork streets. So
yeah,
you're doing really good. You've got a really nice lead.
Yeah. I miss her, honestly. Miss her, up at late at night thinking about her, but it's fine. We move on from these things. It's totally chill. So before we recap our win, before we get into the Genesis, before we talk open, before we talk Barbasol, we're presented by BetSports Golf. Go check them out. If you're watching on the YouTube, like and subscribe. As always, I just hit posting last week on DK, so I was just using their DK optimizer to make my lineups for the week because we got a little bankroll going and everything. So go check them out. Great content all week, PJ splits, everything. So go check them out. So speaking of hitting bets, we did it. We hit an outright. JT posting, baby.
Ticket buddies. Ticket buddies. Yeah, man. It was good to see Postman and Fleener close the door. I would like to take a small amount of credit for it. My son is a big, he knows what's up. He'll ask me every week, he's 11, he's about to be 12. He's my golf guy. He'll ask me every week, who I'm betting on, if I'm sweating anybody. And we woke up Sunday morning. I said, dude, I got to sweat today. Daddy's going to have a sweat. I don't want to sweat. I just want it to be easy, right? I just want wire to wire, win by 5, just cruising. I want to be able to take a nap and then wake up and just bask in it, right? And he was like, who you got? I was like, Postman. He's like, oh, and you got Mr. Fleener? And I said, yeah, Mr. Fleener's on the bag. We're going to pull for him. And so he sent him a little, I don't know if you saw it. He sent him a little motivational speech to Fleener. And Fleener responded right before the round. He said, dude, that's the best motivational speech if I've ever seen one. And, so we'd like to take a little bit of credit. And he came out hot with those first few birdies.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I was like yelling at Collins. I was like, dude, he just birdied first 3 holes. He's like, what? And then he came downstairs a little bit later. He had like a 1-shot lead. I'm over there pissed off. I'm like, God, this is going to happen, isn't it? And it's glad to see him close the door. Couldn't happen to 2 better guys. But congrats to you as well on the hit.
I literally have not hit an outright since Scotty Scheffler at Waste Management. A lot of close calls. God. So it's nice to get one. It's
you're in that spot. It really does.
I'm not one to complain about runner-ups. Like everyone has runner-ups. Like if you're betting on golf, like you should have close calls. But the thing about Poston, it was one of the more obvious bets outright winners in recent memory. The guy just came in second place at the Travelers, another shorter Birdie Fest TPC course the week before. And, DK posted at 80-1 to start. It was moved to 65. I get on at 65. And I was thinking this before. I would have bet really anybody that came in second the week before at 65-1 at the John Deere Classic. In that field, with those numbers, it just seemed like a great number and it seemed like a great bet. I'm glad I was on it. And I weirdly felt confident in it on Thursday. I usually don't, but I just thought with the field, like that would be it's not like he's never, did he go wire to wire at the
Yeah.
Wyndham? I know he shot like a 62.
Oh, at the Wyndham. Oh, I don't know about the Wyndham. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that he played really well all week, but it's like the guy's won before. It's a shitty field. We don't have like anyone chasing him down. That's like super crazy. So for him to get it done was great to see. Back in the winner's circle. Hopefully we could heat up. I just want to hit like 6 outrights this year. I'm at 4. Like, let's just get 2 coming in. 1 this week.
Oh, you can get that.
Obviously. We'll do it. If we put our minds to it, maybe your son sends me a little motivational speech or something. I think we could get it done. I really do.
Well, you got 2 tournaments this week. Give it a shot, And
yeah, Barbasol easy. Barbasol should be easy to find a winner. So
what you sipping on right there? What is that? Has it got ice in it?
Yeah, so I thought I had beer at the house. I guess I drank all of them over the weekend. So I thought I had like 3 for the night. So my mom graciously let me some of her rosé because I wasn't going to, not have any out. Dude, I'm busy. I'm like, I wasn't going to stop and get a 12 on the way home. I thought I had 3 beers. I didn't. I was late. Like, it would have been better than me not drinking, right?
Man, I mean, I'm very used to doing content with a guy who sucks down rosé. But normally, like when Pat gets on rosé, it's usually so rosé for Pat is the 3rd level of the night. So like he doesn't ever start at rosé. He'll start at a beer, he'll move to liquor, and then when he hits rosé, you're in for a night. And so, hopefully you can keep it together a little better than he can. But all right. Well, you told me you were drinking beer, and then when I saw ice in it, I was like, please tell me this guy's not putting ice in his beer. But
no, never do that. I mean, I drank maybe like a trillion beers this weekend. Like I had my beer intake, trying to keep the stomach a little lean, for the ladies.
Not to help you keep the stomach lean, bro.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess it's yeah, sure. You're probably right. You're probably right.
You need to go to vodkas and sodas, tequila soda, tequila and a Topo Chico or whatever it is. That's what you need to be doing.
100%. And I've, done that before when I've tried to get super lean. But the thing about it, like, it's just so much more inconvenient to drink liquor. Like, I'm going to a pregame, like, I have to bring like a bottle, and then I have to bring like a bunch of seltzers, like, to mix it with. And then with the liquor, then I get sloppy drunk. Like, then, because I'm just drinking fast, I don't realize. So, it's a trade-off. It's either have a beer belly or like not be a sloppy drunk. So I'm choosing the beer belly at the moment.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, you do you. You've had Paige on the show. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad you have realized that. So for the Scottish Open, we have basically a Scott. You were over seas recently playing some links golf. So I feel like you have a better gauge on this week than most. So how was your trip to Scotland, and how has it impacted your handicap process this week? Is there anything you're looking for in particular that's maybe different or something?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't think it's going to give me like a huge edge, but it definitely opened our eyes to some things. I mean, early in the trip, it was me, Pat, Pat's brother, a couple other guys, buddies of ours, Kobe DeBose, who is a big DFS high stakes player. I mean, like after 2 days, we were all looking at each other going, this is just a different game over here. They just play it different. The game has to be played different, whether it's windy or not. I mean, when it's windy, for sure. But even if it's not windy over there, everything is so firm, dude. Like everything is so. I played 153 holes of golf in 6 days. Okay. Not one time did I see a pitch mark on any green. Not one time. Like whether you brought it in from, if there was no wind and you hit a sand wedge like to the moon and it landed, no pitch mark. Like everything is firm and fast. Everything rolls out. You're gonna get bad breaks. You can hit your spot, off the tee exactly like you want it to. For some reason, the ball doesn't stop rolling. Before you know it, you're in a bunker. None of the balls roll to the bottom of a bunker out there. They all stay on the edge. Every single one of them. So like getting up and down is the thing. The open course we played the old course, we played it. And like, I never realized how much undulation is on and around those greens. Now I've not seen the Renaissance Club. We did play in North Berwick, which is an amazing town. Absolutely amazing spiritual golf experience. at North Berwick, but we played the West Links course, which is the
Okay.
one they should be playing for this event. This Renaissance thing was built in the 21st century.
It's not an old links course.
No, it pisses me off because North Berwick West Links is right down the street, and it's a much better golf course, and it's 200 years old. It's got all this history. It's just a beautiful track. I mean, it's my favorite golf course I've ever played in my life, but everything's right there on the coast. It's breezy as all get out. It is a different game. I mean, for sure. So I think it just makes me more aware of, patience, guys that can keep their cool and like stay level. But when you get that bad break that you don't feel like you earned, guys who are creative. Obviously we hear that all the time, right?
Yep.
Guys who are creative, who can think through shots differently, because it's not just even if the wind is let's say the wind's blowing 30. Okay. And you've got 110 and you think, okay, I need to hit this ball 150 yards. So you just pull your 150 yard club. It's not that easy. Like, you can't just hit a 150 yard shot full bore, get it up into the wind and believe it's going to get there. You might have to hit like your 200 club, like hip to hip, and like chip it down there. Right. And like, so just thinking through some of these things, from the fairways, around the greens, all that stuff is crucial. And I think links experience, definitely is a big deal over there. It's going to be a big deal next week. So I feel, I don't know that it's really given me a huge edge for this week. But it gave me a big appreciation, and it will definitely make me think twice about certain players, maybe that don't have that links experience, or guys next week that are just going to hop over and they haven't played the Irish, they haven't played the Scottish, they don't have a lot of experience at Open Championships. And maybe if they're hotheads or whatever, I just don't see those guys doing really well out there.
No, definitely. And I think there is some advantage to some of these DP World Tour players that consistently play in Europe throughout the year versus a lot of guys that just have come over for the week to play. So I think that could be a potential advantage. But I think overall for the course, I think that you could get away a little bit off the tee. I think these fairways are a little bit wide, but I do think that elite driver, a long driver of the ball, will have an advantage this week. These greens are massive. These guys aren't going to be chipping a lot. These greens are just very, very large. So,
yeah,
3-putt avoidance. Yeah, like stuff like that. But obviously, you're going to have to be crafty around the greens. And, I think the story of the week is maybe that the weather does not seem that it's going to be cooperating in terms of a true links, windy, rainy, low, high scoring event. Obviously, we've seen, the kind of the disparity in the three events that we've had here. We've had two events where the winning score was over 19, -19. And then that year Aaron Rai won in 2020, he only won at -11. There was a lot of wind that week. And, early reports and everyone's looking at it. It doesn't seem like it's going to be that crazy. So I do think that you want to target guys that have proven that they can go low and win in a lower scoring event versus maybe a guy that's, way better in, difficult conditions, like a Matt Patrick type or a Will Zalatoris type. So I think that given, that PGA Tour people, haven't really followed this event much, I think people have a pretty good grasp on this course and this week and are targeting the right guys.
Yeah, I hate that they're not getting the Scottish winds blowing. It looks like maybe it could come in on Sunday, and things can definitely change. That's for sure. I mean,
Yep.
I hesitated to put out my betting card until we finally got tee times today, which took forever. But it does appear that like Thursday and Friday is going to be kind of benign, and it looks like they're getting a little rain now, which may soften things up a touch. Yep. But I don't think they've gotten a whole lot of rain. So hopefully it's at least firm. Hopefully it's at least that. Like, that's what I hope, is that at least it's firm and fast, even if the wind's not really blowing. But hopefully we get some wind next week. We cannot have 2 weeks in a row in Scotland and freaking, gust maxing out at 20. That's just not acceptable.
That could happen these next 2 weeks. So I would hope that would not. But before we get into the golfers, I just kind of want, I don't think it's a huge deal this week, but personally, your opinion, do you think that there is a massive AM PM advantage this week? I have my trusted sources I like to look at. The wind looks pretty consistent on Friday, and it looks, a little bit lighter in the afternoon on Thursday. But I'm of the belief that the course is always going to play the easiest on Thursday morning. So I think the Thursday AM guys have a little bit of advantage that day. And then I think if it's a little bit windier, I think it's going to kind of even out. I don't think there is some massive wave advantage. A lot of the guys I like are playing in the morning. I think it could kind of go both ways, but I do not think it will be a super pronounced wave advantage this week, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so. I agree and I disagree. I agree that I think it's not going to be a big advantage. So I didn't weight it when I did my card. I'm probably not going to weight it a whole lot when I do lineups unless something changes. But I tend to go a little bit more towards if everything is equal, I tend to favor PM AM guys for the most part, only because by Friday afternoon, when you've got all 150 whatever players, playing, if you're in the afternoon wave, you've had 150 guys play that golf course all of Thursday, and a lot of them, half of them play on Friday morning already out in front of you. And the greens can get crunchy, the greens can get gnarly, they can get banged up. Maybe not so much out here in Scotland with the firmness, but you can at least get the best of that second day condition. And for a lot of guys that can go low on Thursday afternoon, they like to get up and get back out on the golf course. If you go really low on Thursday morning,
Yep.
and then you have to sit and wait till 2 p.m. to get back out there on Friday, sometimes that can kind of cool these guys off a little bit. So I know a lot of these players like to hit that. If we can go low day one, we like to get back up and let's do it again on Friday morning and pick it back up. So sometimes I'll default to that PM AM, but I don't think there's anything right now.
Okay, so that's good because the only three guys I have bet so far are all teeing off in the morning. So let's get into the betting board. The three favorites, the three guys that are in kind of the tier of their own: John Rahm, Scotty Scheffler, JT. The three favorites on all these sportsbook and on DraftKings. I am not betting any of them outright. I know you aren't, but in terms of DraftKings, someone that would be your first guy in this week, who is your favorite out of these three? John Rahm played excellent at this event last year. JT's been here twice, 2 top 20 finishes. Scotty even top 20 last year. So obviously you're kind of pulling hair. These are all like three of the best golfers in the world. Do you have a favorite in this range?
It's probably JT for me. It's probably JT. Just, like you mentioned, played really well here before. Plenty of links experience, bones on the bag, cannot hurt. That's for sure. I think that's helped him a lot. And I'll take the savings on DFS, $600 cheaper than Scheffler, but it's probably either JT or Scotty for me, and I'd probably lean JT.
Yeah, I'm with you on JT. He's like my guy at the top. I'm going to be playing him in a lot of lineups. Obviously this is kind of narrative based, but I think that he's really liked how he's played the week before majors. He's been really excellent the week before major. Top 5 at the event before the PGA. Byron Nelson played really great there, played really well at the Canadian Open the week before the US Open. That didn't translate into a good finish, but he seems to get up for these events the week before major. And I think the fact that he's playing this week shows that he wants to contend. I think with the amount of par threes, best iron player in the world, I think that's a big advantage. He's a great long iron player. So I'll play JT at the top. I'll also play some Rahm. I don't normally play that much Rahm, but he's been great at this event. He was great at it last year. Obviously was in a lot better form, I would say, but I just think obviously his floor is so low. I just think he will be there. Next two guys. So two guys that people laugh at their odds every single week because they don't win. They're priced super low. And then they win back-to-back events and everyone's like, what the hell are we going to do with them? I don't think anybody is going to be betting Xander or Fitz this week, given the fact that they have not won. They're not prolific winners. They just rounded off wins. I think people are kind of cooling down on these guys. However, Xander won this JP McManus Pro-Am this week. Obviously, running joke. Thank God he won the Travelers. People would have been dunking, absolutely dunking on Xander for winning that. Do you have any interest in those two? I'm not playing them in any capacity this week.
Yeah, I mean, if I were gonna bet somebody, shorter than this 25-1 range, Xander is looking interesting. I mean, he just seems like a guy who just might want to just stay really nuclear hot. But I won't be doing that just because I don't do that. It's not on brand for your boy. I would be interested in playing Xander, I think, in DraftKings at 9,900. I like it, so we'll see how it shakes out. I think he's projected currently somewhere in that 18 to 19% range. at least where I'm looking a couple places. I don't know if I'll end up doing that, but it's certainly not so chalky. I wouldn't play it if I believe, wholeheartedly in Xander. So he's interesting to me. I don't know that he's a guy that's necessarily just going to drop off the face of
Yep.
the earth. So
And,
I don't like
he's
Patrick Cantlay right there. So like I'm probably going to either go JT Xander. It's going to be some JT Xander combos or one or the other, and then a couple other these 9K guys, and we roll.
I like it. I like that place. I like the way to go there. And Xander has shown that he can contend at Open Championships. 2018 Open when Francisco Molinari won, Xander was in it all week. He had a chance to win on the 18th hole. So he's been good in Opens. I assume he's going to be great this week and next week. I definitely am with you that I prefer him over Fitz this week. So next guy, first guy, we are both betting. Get a 30-1 on him. Bet 365. You can get like a 28 on some other books. Is Cameron Smith. I have a lot of money on Cam Smith winning the Open Championship next week. I think it is an absolutely perfect course for him. I really think he's going to win. However, I would be remiss if I didn't bet him this week as well at another great number. I think a lot of things really work in his favor. I think the fact that these fairways are a little bit wider and you could get away with more off the tee very much can help him. I think the fact that it's going to be a birdie fest, he set the lowest scoring record in PGA Tour history. He makes some of the most birdies on tour. Obviously, an amazing putter. He's been playing some really great golf. I know he didn't have a great U.S. Open showing. I don't think that was a great course for him, but he's really turned his iron play around and has been one of the most elite iron players on tour. I trust him to get hot with the putter. I think he's going to win next week. I don't want to miss it if he wins this week, so I'll just put a little bit less on it. But Cam Smith will win one of the next 2 weeks. I really do think so.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, early in our trip to Scotland, I think me, Pat, and Kobe all looked at each other and said, these just feel like Cam Smith, Jordan Spieth style golf courses. That's just what it feels like. So I actually think it, while Cam and Jordan both are the kind of player that can really thrive in these birdie competitions. I think I hoping that we get the weather next week, we get some wind next week. I'd rather take him there, but I couldn't avoid him here either. So yeah, he's on my card for all the reasons you mentioned. I feel like the guy could go nuclear at any point here in the next 2 weeks, and hope he does. Meaning both be ticket buddies again.
Yeah, I really hope so. My, I guess, only concern, like maybe he made all his putts for the year at TOC and at the Players, because he really did make every single putt those weeks. And, the PGA Championship being on him, like the putting, I think at the number, I think it's worth just like waiting for that spike putting week because he's just too talented of a putter for it to not happen. So maybe one of the, in my opinion, the top 5 most interesting stories players on the PGA Tour with just how his season's gone is Will Zalatoris. And you could get him at 25, 28-1 this week. He's 9,300 on DraftKings. He is easily the best player on tour without a win. And everyone's been betting him and everyone's had these big tickets on him and they have not cashed just yet. I personally do not think he is going to win his first PGA Tour event at -20. I just don't think that fits his game super well. So as much as I don't want to miss his first win at this event, I just don't love it. I just really don't.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I talk about it on our show a good bit too. Like there's certain guys who feels like the putter is just so suspect, that you worry if they have to roll in so many putts to keep up the birdie rate. Now he hits it close, he hits it so damn close all the time. So, he could have one of those weeks and we're all just going, okay, well, this is unavoidable. This is going to happen. But I'm like you, like I would rather wait and see about Willie Z next week and take my chances with, Cam Smith and others in that range. So yeah, I'm probably with you there.
Yeah, like I really love Willie Z. Like I really do. Like I just think he is so goddamn talented.
Yeah.
But I just think the reason why he's so great in majors is because he hits so many greens. Like, he just puts everything to 15 feet
Yeah.
and he just doesn't make a lot of bogeys and he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. And that's perfect for a major where the winning score is -5, not when it's -20. And obviously he's gone low at the American Express. I just don't see it this week. I also don't love it next week, but I think he might have like lost his like win for the year. I just don't know if it's going to come overseas, but I obviously would be very happy to be proven wrong. So the next guy I'm betting 30-1, you get him on, I think that's pretty readily available number, is Sam Burns. I think that he checks really a lot of boxes this week, and he's at a great number. I don't really know what else he has to do to be, priced lower with these guys. This guy's won 3 times since October. He is an elite driver of the ball. He's plenty long off the tee. He's one of the best putters on tour. I think he's one of only 3 players to be top 10 in both putting and approach play for the season. 30-1 on this course, could have to make a bunch of birdies, be elite driver of the ball. Like, that's Sam Burns to me. So 30-1 is a no-brainer for me. I think that's a great bet. I'm very confident that he will be there and in contention. And he played this course last year. I think he had a top 20 finish. So Sam Burns at 30-1 is a pretty easy play for me.
Listen, you don't have to talk me into Sam Burns just about any week. Like, I'm a huge Sam Burns guy. I think the dude's a dog. I think he's going to contend. He can contend anywhere he goes. I think he's arguably at a given point like a top 5 player in the world in terms of straight up talent. So I love Sam Burns. It's tough for me on the official DB's Big Balls betting card to squeeze in 3 guys in that 30-1, 25-1 range. So Sam Burns is probably the last guy out for me this week on that card, knowing that I've got Cam Smith and Jordan Spieth on there. But I love Sam Burns almost any week, and I'm not going to fault you for this either. I'll gladly take him too if he's low owned on DraftKings. He has been a little lower than he should be a couple of in a recent weeks, but it looks like this week maybe people are on him at 9,200. It's so cheap. But I love Sam Burns for sure.
So I know you alluded to it before when you went overseas. You thought this was perfect for Jordan Spieth. Obviously, he's won on tour this season. He's one of the best golfers over the past, 5 years. Jordan Spieth, you're there this week at 35-1 in that price range.
Yeah.
You think he has a good shot to win outright?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, his record at the Open Championship speaks for itself. While this isn't the Open, this is link style golf. I mean, he's never missed a cut at an Open Championship. He's won and he's got 4 top 10s. He just. I think it's all of those things I said that the feelings I got from playing in Scotland and what you have to do well and how you have to navigate those golf courses, the touch you have to have on and around those greens, and being able to get yourself out of trouble. I mean, nobody does it better than maybe Phil in his prime did it better than Jordan does. But and here too, like, I mean, even though the putting's been a little scary from Jordan lately, he still is like. He's still a birdie making son of a bitch. You know what I mean? Like the dude he makes so many birdies. And if we're hearing a birdie fest this week, I like it. And this whole JP McManus thing, like apparently disqualified himself because he early raked a putt that he didn't think counted. And then he forgot about the amateur. I don't know what it was, and then they let him play his ball today. And I think he shot pretty well. But he's been over here, a few days getting accustomed to things, playing some other courses around the area. I think he loves this kind of stuff. I think he soaks up golf like this. I could see coming over here to Scotland, like re-energizing and just inspiring a guy like Jordan Spieth. That's what it did for me. Like, because it just makes you think. It just turns on all the things in your brain that make you think differently about how you play golf. And, maybe he's bored or something. I don't know what it is, but I could just see him getting here to the home of golf and the juices start flowing, and Jordan could be a bad man the next 2 weeks.
I completely agree. I think it's a great play, and I've talked about it before. I think that if Jordan Spieth wins another major, it will either be an Open or a Masters. I don't really think that's a hot take, but I just think going forward the next 4 or 5 years, like just pencil Jordan Spieth in at every single Open Championship and every single Masters, because he always seems to show up, even if he's not in the greatest of form. So I think Jordan Spieth the next 2 weeks will be, a great bet. And I think something that's interesting a little bit is that he's about double the odds that he is for next week that he is this week. Obviously, the odds will change a little bit on DraftKings, but I think he's about like 20-1 to win the Open. You could get him at like 35-1 this week. So I just think that's kind of an interesting thing to note, but I think it's a great play. So I posted this before. They just followed up with me 10:30 tonight. I'm going on New Zealand radio to talk about Ryan Fox's hot streak on the DP World Tour. I'm not a huge DP World Tour guy, but I tweet about Ryan Fox a lot because what he has done is extremely, extremely impressive. And even though he doesn't cross the finish line, it is still something to note. And I think it's something that can carry him into the next 2 weeks. You're betting him this week. I wish you the best of luck. I hope he gets across the finish line. I first want to ask you, have you seen his Open Championship price on DraftKings?
I haven't even looked. I have not.
It is $7,100.
Yeah. So we'll see, right? Like maybe he's one of those that that all the ownership projections are like through the roof, and so then everyone decides to go elsewhere, and then he's really only like 13% owned. But I think I just had to put him on the card because there's been a couple of guys over the last few weeks that I kind of talked myself out of as the week's gone on, because sometimes when you're in this echo chamber of Twitter and you start seeing all these people throw out these names. Sometimes you just don't want to be on the guy because everybody else is on the guy, and there's been a couple of times I've talked myself out of a guy for that reason and for no other reason. And then he hits or he plays really well. I'm like, why didn't I just commit? Why didn't I just stay there? And I know, Fox grabbed grabbed my attention early in the week. I know Pat Mayo loves the guy. Everybody loves him. Right. And so, but you can't argue with how good the guy's been playing and his links record. And even though this is a field that he's, very rarely been up against, I got to feel like who could be coming in feeling more confident in their own game than a guy playing as good as Ryan Fox right now. So I'm just going to roll with it because it's also too like me hedging against possibly fading him completely on DraftKings, depending on how things shake out. But I am surprised to see, at least, today as the time of recording this, like, what do you see his ownership at? Like, I see it pretty surprisingly low. It's like 10% or something. What do you see it at?
I mean, I really just use Fantasy National, but I would be seeing the same thing. I don't think we're like in a bubble. Like, I don't think the casual DFS player knows about Ryan Fox. Like, I don't think many people give a shit about the DP World Tour. Like, I really don't. Like, I think if I asked my casual golf friends if they knew who Ryan Fox was, they wouldn't. So I think that might be why his ownership's a little low. And I think something you alluded to is that, people are like, well, he can't even close the deal in these weak European fields. So how is he going to do it against the best players in the world? But a counter to that would be at this event last year, Minwoo Lee won. And Scotty, Rahm, JT, Sam Burns, it wasn't as good of a field, but it was still a very solid field. And I'm not going to say that I know what Minwoo Lee's recent form was coming into this event, but I would assume it would be good. So I think that I think that a Euro guy can come in here and just go scorched earth and win this thing. And I think if it would be anyone, it would be Ryan Fox. I will be on him top 20, top 10, and in DraftKings because I don't know if he can get across the finish line, but I think a top 20 on him, the way he's playing, is free money. This week, I'll be all over that. I like my placement bets. I was on it last week. I had a hefty wager on it, and that helped me out a lot. So I'm with you in Ryan Fox being a good play, but I think that it is one of the most egregious misprices ever that he is $7,100 or $7,200 at the Open Championship, and that could be a really big problem. So we're skipping around a little bit, but some guy I would want to talk about, some guy I bet first thing Monday morning. I know you're boys with him. He's your best friend in the whole world. Keith Mitchell, 90-1 on DraftKings. I was on that like a hobo on a ham sandwich. That was the easiest bet I've ever made in my whole life. I've been looking at Keith Mitchell, and I said, this guy is playing too well to not have won. he is going to win soon. I think it will be at the 3M or Rocket Mortgage. It could be this week. I'm definitely in at 90-1. Last 3 starts, 6th at the Travelers, 7th at the Canadian Open, 18th at the Memorial, made cut at the PGA Championship, 34th. He is just playing some absolutely spectacular golf right now. He's putting really well. He's driving it really well. I think those are going to be the keys to success this week. 90-1, 70-1. No brainer to me. But Keith Mitchell will win on the PGA Tour by season end. He is playing some spectacular golf this week, and I love him in DraftKings. He's in my core. He'll be in a lot of lineups, and I like him next week at the Open too. I think he's in the 6K range. So Keith Mitchell, such an easy bet for me this week.
Yeah, I wish I would have got him at 90 like you did. I wasn't quite as early. I waited a little bit too much for these. Kept thinking the weather was going to change, and it didn't. Yeah, I like Keith a lot, and for next week too, he's on my radar. I think he's in the triple digits right now for next week, which I might consider going ahead and hitting that if you like him. He's got, even though he's only played in 2 Open Championships, I think he missed the cut in both of them. He has a lot of experience at St. Andrews, has some family ties to St. Andrews. Dad's a member of the RNA. He's very familiar with this area. It would be special to him to get it done at the old course. You know, maybe an outright is a reach potentially, but I would maybe just toss a few little tokens out there just to get it out there, and then maybe when the top 20 number hits next week, you hit it. But I definitely, he made my card this week. I'm with you, man. I feel like Keith Mitchell's a stud. And I think he's a killer too when he's on. So I think he could close the door in an event like this for sure. I don't think he's a guy that gets intimidated by these strong fields or these big names. I don't see that whatsoever.
And is he a dog?
Oh, he's a dog. Yeah.
I mean,
he's a Georgia Bulldog, and he's a dog. He's a killer dog.
I mean, like, just best boys. Like, I mean, like, he's basically your best friend. Like,
he's not. That would be a reach. He's a great dude. Spent some time with him at the Players this year. Great guy, really good dude, but
enjoys a few cocktails.
Enjoys some cocktails. I have been to his house. He's got him and JT.
Dude, come on, you're boys. Like, just stop. Yeah, like, your best boys.
But we got invited there from Poston because he and JT Poston used to be roommates at Sea Island.
So, what is your connection to JT Poston?
The connection to JT was Aaron Fleener. Yeah.
Okay. So, how do you know his caddy?
We were boys with Fleener for a minute. The connection with Fleener was through Gino Benelli, Joel Damon's guy. So he just
who's off the bag this week?
Yeah, who's off the bag this week? And
his caddy is this guy Sean Zach. I think he works for golf.com.
Yeah.
He actually, it doesn't matter, but when I was really jonesing for tee times, I'm bored at work. I want to see tee times, and he posted them, and I DM'd him. I was like, "Yo, like, where'd you get those tee times?" He's like, "I'm caddying." Sent them to me. So I think I'm boys with that guy. So I mean, I was like, "Are you gonna like tell him to hit like an 8 or 9? Like, do you do that if you're guest caddying?"
No, absolutely not. No, absolutely not. You give the number. You give the wind direction. You give the number to carry something or number to trouble. You give the where not to miss or where to miss, and then that's it. You would never club. You don't ever club your guy if you're a fill-in. Absolutely not.
But would a PGA Tour pro be like, I'm between or 8 or 9? What do you think? That you don't think they would ask a guest caddy for that?
I mean, I don't know what Sean's experience is caddying or what kind of player he is. Like, I mean, if he's a fill-in caddy in terms of, he's caddy before, or he's a really good player, then yes, I think maybe would ask that. But if he's just a guy from Golf Whatever magazine, there's no way in hell Joel Damon is asking him I can guarantee you Joel won't do it, because Joel is a confident son of a gun. He's a swaggy dude, so he's not going to be like asking the golf writer, if he's in between clubs, what he thinks. I'm sure of it. I did throw my name in the hat to caddy for Joel. Actually, I haven't told this before, but I heard last week he was looking for somebody. Yeah. Gino told me he wasn't going, so I texted Joel. I was like, "Bro, I literally just got back from North Barrick. I was just there like 8 days ago. Get me. I will caddy for you. I caddied at the National for 2 years. Come on. I caddied 2 holes in the 2016 Players Championship, second round.
How did that happen?
Actual story." And he's like, "You're 9th on the list." That was his response.
Yeah, because I know Solly from No Laying Up wanted to get on. So I don't know how we landed on this Sean guy, but how did you caddy for 2 holes at the Players Championship?
This is a long story. I won't take up all the time and tap in Birdie, but so we were friends with Stephen Bowditch. Remember him?
Yes.
You may be before your time. You're so damn young. But Stephen Bowditch was a buddy of ours. I was there watching him play, watching the second round. He got called off the golf course with 2 holes left due to rain, and he was like 5 shots off the cut line. I mean, he was done. And we were catching up for a beer that night, and I was like, "Where's your boy Neil, your caddy?" He's like, "Oh, Neil went home." I was like, "Wait a minute, doesn't Neil live in Orlando?" He's like, "Yeah." Like, "Who's caddying for you tomorrow?" Like, "You got 2 holes to play." He's like, "I guess my coach will just carry the bag." And I was like, "Dude, let me caddy you." And he's like, "You want to?" I was like, "Fuck yes, I want to. Yes, I do." He's like, "All right." So he picked me up that morning. We parked in the players' lot, threw the bib on, caddied the last 2 holes. Unfortunately, the second round he started on number 10, so I didn't get to caddy 17 and 18. I caddied 8 and 9. But
it
he
was
did.
still a movie.
Yeah, I still got to caddy in a real round of the Players Championship, and then he helped me smuggle the jersey, actually, the caddy bib. Actually, let me see if I can move my camera. You can see it. It'll be right above me. See the bib right there? That's the Players Championship framed Baudo bib that he helped me steal from the PGA Tour.
Love it. That's a great story. I mean, you are a caddy. I mean, basically,
yeah, I'm totally a caddy. Totally a caddy.
Totally a caddy.
Joel sucks this week. It's because he took the rider guy and not me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what more like you could want from you as a caddy. Like, it was an easy choice. A big miss.
9th on the list. 9th.
Yeah,
dang it,
it's pretty bad. Pretty bad. But it's okay. I'm glad you were able to admit it on TIB. You know, you're an open guy. But next guy on your betting card, everyone's got this newfound love for him after his live comments this week. Just won the Memorial. Billy Horschel, he's on your betting card. You like the number? You think he can get it done?
I will say we talked about Billy on our show yesterday, the early morning show that we did with Diane Knox. So it was before the Billy comments.
Okay, so you're not. This is not like a bet, you know, just because I like the guy because of what he said about live.
No. This was locked in before that. We talked about him a good bit yesterday. I mean, Billy's a guy that I think really embraces golf over this side of the pond, right? Won the BMW PGA at Wentworth. Was it last year? I think that kind of he talked about it today, actually. And aside from the live stuff, he talked about how much he loves playing over here, how much it means to him to, you know, the support that he gets over here. And you can't deny, like, he's had a really solid year. 6th at the Waste Management, runner-up at Arnold Palmer, won the Memorial. You know, and Billy just one of those guys that just does everything pretty well. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of holes in the boat. I don't like the Open Championship record or kind of links record that he's got. It's not very good. But without the without the Scottish wins and all the stuff going on, like, maybe he'll be okay this week. So I just felt like the number was pretty good. I was looking at names shorter than him, thinking like, man, I mean, honestly, when I looked at Ryan Fox's number, I was like, Ryan Fox should probably not be that much shorter than Billy Horschel, if we're being honest. Like, in terms of the sheer talent, you know, I just don't think that should be the case. I don't think Cam Young, as talented as he is, should be as short as he is compared to Billy Ho. Like, I think Billy Ho is, when he's feeling himself, he's another just real swaggy dude that can just come out here in a tough field like this on a big stage. He's a total tour guy, right? So to win the first strategic alliance, you know, butt fuck or whatever this is between the PGA Tour and DP World Tour, he would just love that. He would love that trophy. So
he would be the guy. I mean, he's kind of a half Euro guy, you know, big fan of West Ham, won the BMW championship last year overseas, you know, coming out as maybe like a kind of second or third in line to Rory as to being, you know, the PGA Tour's guy. So I think it's a great bet. I think it's a great play. It's a good number. I think it's a good play. You know, in terms of outrights, the 3 I talked about are that I don't know where I'm going for the rest of my card, but I have a lot of DFS plays. So my next one that I just think is just a slam dunk play. I don't know why you wouldn't play him in DFS. I will be on him top 20. I don't think that he can win, but I just think that his course history is too great. But Lucas Herbert, I think it's a great play this week. I mean, you look at his course history at this event, 4th place finish last year, 4th place finish the year before. And again, it's not like these were random Euro events. Like, good guys came over and played well at the PGA Championship. I know that was a little bit ago, but this guy's won on the PGA Tour. before. So at 6,700, 7,600, I just think it's a good play. I just think that he plays well enough over here on this side of the pond that it's good play. So I like him. I'll be playing him. Next guy, kind of a similar build, similar type. The major guy, he is the ultimate. You need a 6K guy in the major. He'll make the cut. Bobby Mack this week, you're on him. 70 to 80 to 1. Bobby Mack, just play him over here. He's played well here before, and he's Scottish.
Yeah, the Scottish boy, the guy that everybody in Scotland is pulling for. I think maybe there's a little bit of pressure on him there, but he's had a decent year. He struggled a little bit up until last week, but a 13th at the Irish. I think that's something that if you look over the last few years, playing well at the Irish has certainly been something that has seemingly helped some of these guys out. Always plays good in the majors. Like he plays in these tough fields in these majors. He's got two top 8s at the Open Championship. Yep. The guy's a stud. He really, really is a talented player, hits it a long way, good ball striker. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to pull for Bobby Mack for sure. I know, I've bet him before, and I'd love to be there for the first dub, for Bobby Mack. Yeah. And I think 3 to 1 top 20 too, which I like that a lot.
I like that play as well. I think that it's a good top 20 bet. He'll be in my DraftKings pool, playing 150 lineups this week. I normally don't. But again, when you hit a little bet on, DraftKings, you spend more. You don't cash out. You invest it again. And then you probably lose it all. And you're like, I probably should just cash it out. But it's fine. We'll roll it over into this week. So he's in the player pool. I'll be playing him this week. I think it's a good play. Two guys I like at $7,400. The 2020 champ of this event, again, I don't think these guys are going to win, but I do think a top 20 is a good play on him. But Aaron Rai just seems like a good play this week. Obviously won this event in 2020. He's made his last 3 cuts on the PGA Tour, 26th at the Memorial, 13th at the Canadian, 40th at the Travelers. And he played really well at the Irish Open last week, which you alluded to. It's kind of a good litmus test as to how you're going to perform the week after. I think it was T11 last week. So a guy to put in your DraftKings lineups that you want to make the cut. Good recent form, good course history. That really checks a lot of boxes for me this week. Do you have any thoughts on Cooch? Do you think Cooch can play well? Obviously had that great run at the 2017 Open Championship against Jordan Spieth. He's been playing some decent golf, great short game, great putter. You think Cooch can, find himself in the top 20, make a cut this week, be a good guy for your DraftKings lineups?
I mean, it usually takes a lot for me to roster Cooch. I'm not usually quick to click on his name, but I mean, if it's pretty firm, then possibly. It looks like I said, they're getting rain right now, I think. So maybe we can get some boots on the ground to kind of give us an indication of just how firm that place is playing before lineups lock. And I could see that being the case if it firms up a little bit. It's gonna mean a little more for the shorter hit. It's gonna equalize things a little bit more for these shorter hitters. So I could get down with that. I like Chris Kirk in that range a good bit. He's on the betting card. Kirk's had a tremendous season. Love the ball striking that the guy's done all year round. I mean, gaining strokes off the tee, gaining strokes on approach, and typically, like over his PGA Tour career, he's been a pretty good putter. So, I mean, it's just a guy that when he's on doesn't do hardly anything like terribly. Like there's not this one big hole in the boat for him. I mean, but what a year he's had, like 14th at Waste Management, top 10s at Honda, API, the PGA, RBC Canadian, his last event out. So, he hasn't played in a lot of Open Championships, probably not a great links record, but, I think Chris Kirk's a solid player down there at 7,400. I think gives you some a high floor and probably a top 10. I think truly like top 10 upside here.
Yep. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think it's a good play. I might have to, fit him into that DK lineup, that DK, that player pool I have going. Someone I can't say I know a lot about, but you're betting outright. I assume you're playing it in DFS. Not Jordan Spieth, but Jordan Spieth.
Yeah.
This week played decent last week, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Obviously, he's a DP World Tour guy, but what kind of struck you about him as to why you wanted to bet him this week?
He's got like 8 or 9 top 20s in 2022 and like 12 top 25s in 2022. The guy hits it a mile. I think he leads the DP World Tour in strokes gained off the tee. When I kind of saw this shaping up to be somewhat of a birdie fest, to me, I think that helps Jordan Smith here. So I love that. I just think he's a great ball striker off the tee and can definitely rack up the birdies. And the form on the DP World Tour has just been really, really solid. He played here in I think he missed the cut here last year, but the year before, year before he finished T36 in 2020. Finished 7th at last year's Irish Open. And yeah, like you said, 24th at this year's Irish Open. So Jordan Smith, I think, is a very interesting play. So when I saw it 125-1, I kind of felt like jumping on that. So it'd be a breakout win for that guy.
Love it. Not Jordan Spieth, Jordan Smith. Don't confuse the two.
Both of them on my card.
Yeah, just bet both. The JSs in Europe. It's always a good play. So I tweeted this before, and I don't normally like tweet out stuff like that, like a bunch of stats about someone as to why they're a good play, because I always feel like it mushes them. But PGA Tout tweeted last week and was like, if fucking JT had horrible form at the John Deere Classic, but he also had horrible form at the Travelers, and he T2'd, and that kind of put me over that. I'd be like, yeah, I'll bet that. That's fine. So I wanted to put something out there. But my guy this week, I put it out, is going to be Padraig Harrington.
I'm with you. I'm
like,
with 100%.
It seems too obvious, but I just think it's kind of the play this week. Like, I think it might be the nuts play. He won the U.S. Senior Open
nuts
2 weeks ago.
Be pushing it. He's like, he's 50 something.
He'll make the cut. Okay.
Yeah, we talked about him on our DFS show yesterday with Mark Hill, and I brought him up, and Mark Hill didn't like it. Mark Hill said he's older. He's played, so he played the U.S. Senior Open, won that. Then he played the Irish. Then he played the JP McManus thing.
Fifth.
Yeah, I know. And then he's playing next week, obviously. So Mark's whole thing was like, it's a lot of golf, and maybe this week's just kind of let's just see what happens. I'm like, to me, Padraig Harrington, like, when he was doing all his like instructional stuff on Twitter and stuff, this guy just seems like a total golf addict, like a golf nerd. He just wants to play golf. That's just what he does. And so I don't know that I feel like Padraig's got plenty of, gas in the boat. So I'm ready to ride with you with Padraig Harrington. I'm down.
Lock him in every single lineup. 150 lineups were overexposed to Padraig, and he's been great at this event. He has a 9th and a T18 the last 2 times he played it. So Padraig, no brainer for me. I'm all over that. Last guy I'll talk about. I just think that he's really a great ball striker. $6,900 for Matthew NeSmith. I feel like you're like, I feel like you like NeSmith.
He's
made a bunch of cuts on tour. I won't mush it or anything. He made like 7 cuts in a row. 19th at the Travelers, gained 6.8 on approach, lost 3.1 putting. Obviously not ideal, but if he could just make some putts this week, NeSmith, I mean, it's a no-brainer for me at 6,900. So those are my 2 favorite 6K plays this week. I think NeSmith is a good play.
Yeah, I like NeSmith a lot. Fun fact with him, his golf coach, who also coaches a handful of other guys, lives in Augusta, my hometown. And right before he basically decided to start teaching tour pros, he was coaching me a little bit. And I was such a terrible student. I'm pretty sure he went home at night after like 10 lessons with me and was like, you know what, I got to figure out a way to coach guys on tour. And there he is. And he's doing well. He's picked up some other guys. I think he's doing Grayson Sigg and Henrik Norlander and a couple other guys. So, but NeSmith is his guy right now. This is golden goose. So definitely a good ball striker, and ball striking travels. Like no matter wherever you go, ball striking travels. Yeah, the guy can't make a putt and we're all just waiting on it. But, just like a lot of these other guys, when it hits, the ball striking is usually there, and it's interesting. So I'm down with Matt NeSmith. My guy here at 6,900 is probably Russell Knox. I'm usually a sucker for Russell Knox anyway, and now we're in Scotland. I feel like I kind of have to go there. Like the ball striking for Russell Knox usually pretty solid over the long term. Over the short term, it's been a little interesting over the last couple of weeks. The whole thing with him has always been the putter, but we did just find out that after the Travelers, he has started messing around with a long putter, and he's going to deploy the long putter
Love it. Nothing better than a new putter. You just
and a new long putter, because I feel like that helps everybody. Like it just helps everybody. So you get more length, you add some girth, and everybody feels better about themselves, right? So it's confident. So I'm hoping that that's going to help. We also got word that he had some vision issues that he got corrected. I'm like, well, shit, yeah. I mean, I guess getting your eyesight adjusted will definitely help you putt the ball better. So maybe the Scotsman, the old veteran Scotsman that nobody wants to talk about because everybody wants to talk about young Bobby Mack. Maybe Russell Knox could do a little something. I'd love to see it. So, but I'm going to roll with him in the 6K. I like your Padraig Harrington pick. Other than that, like I
Callum
love
Tarrant, 6,300.
I'm just about to say I'm a Callum Tarrant guy. I saw that guy play at the AT&T Byron Nelson. Followed him around for a few holes. He's a pretty electric guy. He plays fast, which I like, and he got real impatient with a couple guys in his group that I don't know. It was fun to watch. So, and then he just hits it a mile. So I like that. Other than that, there's one other guy. Where is he? Oh yeah. It's 6,800. I'm a David Lipsky guy. David Lipsky's he's a world, tour player. Like the guy played on the Challenge Tour, played a lot on the DP World Tour. Then he came over to the Korn Ferry Tour. Then he got his card. Now he's playing on the PGA Tour. But this guy's played all over the place. He's won an Alfred Dunhill. It wasn't the Links. It was it was the one in South Africa, Leopard Creek. But he's won, on the DP World Tour before, and he's had a good PGA Tour season.
Yes.
I think David Lipsky's a solid player. Like he's just another guy that just, he doesn't have a whole lot of like massive gaps that he has to make up. He can just have a little better than average week, and he can really return some value for you. Maybe a top 25.
Yeah, I had him top 20 last week. Big play on him. Bogey 2 of the last 4 holes, killed it. But cannot be upset when hitting that right at last week. It's okay. It's all good. It probably should have been a top 40 play, but I think we gave out a lot of great picks. I think that I'm going to win a lot of money on DraftKings this week. There's really no doubt about it in my mind. We might just clean up everything this week. We're blowing through all the JT money, and we're just spending it all this week. So you hometown, you were born in Augusta National? Like you were born in Augusta, Georgia? Okay. I misspoke. You were born in Augusta, Georgia.
I was born in Butler Cabin. Bobby Jones cleaned me off when I came out the womb. He delivered me. Bobby was Dr. Bobby Jones. No, born and raised in Augusta. Me and Pat both were. I'm still here. Pat moved away like right after we started TJ, unfortunately. So he moved away to Savannah about 6 years ago. But yeah, both born and raised. I worked at Augusta for 2 years. Been to the Masters like every year of my life since I was probably 15. Pat's been every year of his life, and he's 45. His dad's a badge holder. So yeah. It's a good spot. You got to get here.
So,
man. Come party.
Who is your favorite outright bet you have hit at the Masters?
God, have I hit a Masters bet?
Wow. Okay. I
don't know that I've hit one.
You've never hit an outright at Augusta?
Well, but okay. Again, like I don't bet short guys, dude. I don't bet the short numbers. Pat hit Hideki. I know that at 40 to 1. I didn't hit Scheffler. I don't think I've ever hit one. I don't think I've ever hit one.
All right.
Maybe I'm due. I need a guy that's longer than, I need a guy like in the 30 to 1 to like 60 to 1 range to hit.
So other than Tiger, who is your favorite Masters winner over the past 10 years?
Oh, you know what? I hit Patrick Reed. I just remembered that.
Okay. What were his odds that week?
Maybe like 40 or 50.
40 or 50? Yeah. Okay. P. Reed. So you have a special memory.
I had a good week that week with P. Reed. I had him in DFS and I bet him outright. Was that 2016, 2018?
Yeah, 2018, I believe.
Favorite winner other than Tiger? I mean, probably the Hideki win.
Okay.
I think it was the Hideki win. I mean, just that guy. The Masters just rewards those guys sometimes. Those older guys can get it done, those veterans. And he's not old, but like he played in like how many Masters? Like 10 Masters and couldn't get it done. Didn't have the major. Love the way he plays the game. The bow at the end from his caddy just got me. We love that stuff here in Augusta. So That was pretty special. That was pretty special. But yeah, I mean, you can't beat Tiger.
Obviously cannot. But yeah, he's going to win the Open Championship next week because the course is flat and he's won there before. I don't know if you've heard that.
Dude, Tiger?
No, like if anyone says that, just don't. Just do not say Tiger Woods is going to win the Open Championship because the course is flat. Well, and he's won there before. It doesn't mean anything.
I definitely thought so when we played the old course a few weeks ago. Like I was like, okay, this is a course that Tiger can walk and be okay because Augusta. Like, when we saw him limping around, like there's a reason he was limping around. It's a hard freaking walk. And the old course is not a hard walk at all. Like very not hard.
Yes.
Officially. So obviously for like a stamina standpoint, like that makes sense. But it seems like based on this JP McManus stuff, like, I don't know. Like, is he in the cart? Is he riding around in the golf cart at this JP McManus thing because he's being proactive so he doesn't wear himself out for next week, or because he needs to? And if he needs to, then how confident are we he's even going to play? I don't know. Like, I feel like he's been preparing to play the Open since Augusta, and that's why he didn't play the U.S. Open. That's why I didn't play the PGA. So I feel like if I were going to put money on it, I think he tees it up and he gives it a go.
Yeah. I do too. I just don't think anyone should wager money on him to win or in like any capacity. I think it's kind of tough. And he was talking about how it might be like his last major he ever plays. Like
we all said the same thing in 2019. I don't remember if Captain Birdie was around in 2019, but we all said the same thing in 2019 at Augusta, and he made us look like fools.
I believe it's a little bit of a different scenario. He had a great season that year, but it really does not matter. But what I want to ask you, other than Cam Smith, who is your early pick for the Open Championship next week?
Ooh. I mean, we've talked about them both, but I definitely like Cam and Jordan this week and next week. Let me see.
Because I think it's going to be a really interesting, obviously it's going to be an amazing Open, but I just think you look at the winners and I think the big thing is going to be like people that are good at the Masters. So we have Zach Johnson winning in a playoff over Leash and Louis, who have both been excellent at Augusta. Then you have Louis win in 2010. So he's lost in a playoff at Augusta. It's not his best major, but he's been good. And then you have Tiger winning 2 years in a row.
The only thing that is similar between those two golf courses
are the greens.
Are the greens. That is it. And the only reason they're similar is the undulation. The surfaces, the grass, the green speeds are not at all close to the same. And it's just the undulation and the creativity that's needed when you miss them.
Yeah,
that is for sure. The Open is one of the hardest. It is the hardest course to bet futures on and commit to early, because we know that typically we're going to have some sort of weather advantage, some sort of wave advantage. It happens all the time out there. So I think that it's tough to commit to it really before we get too close. But I mean, unless you see guys like I have already bet Keith Mitchell because his number is so long that I don't think he's going to get any longer. And if he does, I'll add to my position. And if he doesn't, then good for me. And if he wins this week in a birdie fest, he's going to get shorter. So I mean, he's like 100 and something. I know he's a triple digit number next week. So I went ahead and hammered that, but I don't know that I'll do too much more.
So you got to see the weather. You got to see the way. You
got to be patient with. See, young Brian, you're 24. I know you're impatient.
24. Yeah, 24.
You're impatient. You got to chill on the Open. You can't start firing all. You just want all this money. You can't blow your wad early, Brian. That's a lesson you should always remember. Don't blow it early.
Love it. So last thing before we get out of here, DB, how was your golf game? What's your handicap? How are you playing right now? What's trending right now? The ball striking, the putting. How's your golf game?
No, man, I never get asked this, Brian. Thank you. This is wonderful. I love talking about it. Actually, that's something that I got from Scotland. I came home, and my home course is a tough golf course. I play Champions Retreat Golf Course. It hosts the first 2 rounds of the Augusta National Women's Amateur. Only course in the world with 3 9-holes designed by the big 3: Gary, Jack, and Arnie. Beautiful golf course. I play there, I've been playing there about 4 years. Our greens are hard as shit. They're Tiff Eagle Bermuda. They're firm and fast. A lot of undulation. It's a hard golf course. The handicap travels well. I get my dick punched in on the regular at Champions Retreat. Okay. So I feel like I'm a terrible golfer. But then I went to Scotland, and it was just so much harder, and everything was just so much more difficult, and everything involved so much more thought. And so I came home, and like I said, I played 153 holes in 6 days. I didn't play for 2 weeks. And so this past week, I played twice. And
With Joe Idoni.
yeah, with Joe. Yep, with Joe. I played one round with Joe. And so my handicap at Champions, I'm like a 9.2. I'm probably really like an 8, because I may fudge it a little bit just for member guest reasons, but that's off the record. I got home last week and shot like the most stress-free, easy like 82s, which aren't incredible, but like
But they're hard on your course.
before Scotland, if I was shooting an 82, I was like, oh God, I'm grinding. Like I had to do something miraculous on a hole or two, but it was just the most stress-free, easy 82s I've ever shot. So I feel like the game is about to start trending up, because
You're gonna have a big summer.
big summer. Scotland was just spiritual, dude. It was spiritual on so many levels. We had a
So
cat.
were you hitting a lot of drivers off the tee? Like, how were the length of these courses? Like, were you flighting some shots? How was like?
So I can't get into this because it just takes so long, but we had a caddy experience on like the 5th day, okay, between the old course and North Berwick. We had a caddy who's a psychologist. He's a professor at St. Andrews. He used to work for NATO, okay? He would teach soldiers through high-ranking military officials in NATO how to overcome mental trauma, okay? And he's a mental coach on the DP World Tour for players like Rory McIlroy, Matt Fitzpatrick. Like this guy he's like the world's most interesting man. Okay. He caddied for us at the Castle course, which is a St. Andrews property. And he completely like mind banged all of us in a great way. In a great way. Like he took over immediately when we met him. His name was Thomas. And he had me hitting the ball better than I'd ever hit it in my life. The whole round. Like before that round, I was barely hitting driver at all because my thing is like I have plenty of distance, but my driver goes everywhere. So I have this 2-iron driving iron that I love, and when I smoke it, I can hit it 250. And so that's all I needed in Scotland, because you hit it 250, it rolls out 270, like you're fine. So I was hitting 2-iron the whole trip. I think I hit maybe 3 drivers the whole trip before that day. I get up there and I pulled 2-iron like the first par 5. He's like, "What are we doing?" I was like, I don't hit driver. He's like, "Oh yeah, you do today." And he like told me something, and he gave me a little thing. And dude, I was pumping drivers all day long. Then I went to North Berwick the next day, and I was like channeling Thomas, pumping drivers all day at North Berwick, into the wind, downwind, like banana land. I came home the 2 rounds last week, same thing. I mean, he just like worked me over. So I'm hoping now, like the driver's always been my bugaboo because I'll hit foul balls, and that's what gets me in trouble.
But when you're confident with the driver, there's really nothing like it. You just hit it better. Like you might not be doing anything different with your swing, but when you're confident with your driver and you go up to the tee box and you're like, I've hit my last 5 drives perfect. Yeah. You're not thinking, oh, I need to bring the club back slow and move my hip and bring it up. You're just not thinking about that when you're hitting the driver well. So it does everything for your confidence. So we'll have to get a round in eventually, maybe sometime. I go down to Hilton Head. My friend has a house there. I was just Savannah. We'll link up. We'll play some golf. It was an absolute pleasure having you on. It was a perfect event for you. It was a perfect conversation. You're back on soon. Definitely 100%. And I really appreciate you coming on. And Tour Junkies puts out great content every week. And I really enjoy your switch to full time because it gives me a little something to do at work on Monday mornings, a little first look.
Yeah, you're in my YouTube chats asking me to, respond to your DMs. I hear you.
Yeah, you're bad with the DMs. Like, what do you want me to say?
I'm busy. You're persistent, man. I appreciate it. Thanks, BK. It's fun. Tapping Birdie's fun. To be able to say I've been on the same show as Paige is remarkable. So I'm proud of that, and I'll be praying for you, dude. I'll pray for you to close that deal. T's and P's.
Absolutely. Everyone who checked it out tonight, appreciate you. We'll see you next week for the Open Championship at St. Andrews.